I would have never thought that I would say this.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Ultimate YouTube channel. It's your girl, Rosalie.
This is so freaking powerful.
Guess what time it is? Let's keep this short and simple, but I had to come on here. So often we're stuck in our own little world, but it's all so much bigger than we realize.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I got something very special for you guys today. This has been a long time coming. As promised, it is time to dive into side B. Yes, I thought I had explored the full Rush 2112 album, and boy, was I wrong. There's a whole second side to this thing. The mathematicians of music, that is what Rush is to me. A band that I've experienced and explored through this channel, which is really exciting to me. Not wearing my Rush t-shirt today, not sure where it is. I gotta locate it. But I've gotten a Rush t-shirt since. I've been reviewing one song after the other, and you have been patiently waiting for me to finally check out B-side. Now, if you want to check out my full review, it's over an hour long, a deep dive where I analyze, talk about the composition, the lyrics, the elements that go into Rush and their album 2112. But I went through A-side, from Overture to the grand finale. Now, keep in mind I had to edit out a couple of minutes due to copyright issues, but I plan to re-upload the entire thing, A and B side, once I put everything together so you can access either A or B or both. But I want to bring you in-depth analysis. So if this video gets a little longer, bear with me. You are here most likely for some real talk, real reviews. We go deep. We talk about the musical compositions, the lyrics. My name is Rosalie. I have a master's in counseling psychology. I'm also a singer-songwriter. So psychology, mental health, counseling, and music are my passions. And I've discovered that this channel is just a perfect way to blend those two. So get ready, buckle up. If you're new, subscribe. I'm honored that you're here. And I'm excited to check this out. Just to get my mind back into the world that is Rush. This piece, this album, to me, is a ride that, as I mentioned in my other video, is ahead of its time. It's this deep dive that is so futuristic, so insightful. Rush being pioneers and forging a trail, forging a path when it comes to music, when it comes to musical art and math, and how that all works together. For those of you who don't know, even though I'm assuming many do because you're probably here because you're a Rush fan, their 2112 album was really such an iconic progressive rock masterpiece. So beloved and respected by many, musically, culturally speaking, lyrically. Rush being a Canadian rock band, the album 2112 specifically released in 1976. And side A of the 2112 album being this 20-minute long, 7-part piece called 2112, side B having those 5 standalone tracks that I'm going to be diving into with you today. It's an epic tale. Careful, if you have not listened yet, I'm giving some spoiler alerts. So if you haven't listened to the album yet, pause here, go check it out, then come back, and make sure to subscribe to Rush on YouTube as well. It's an epic tale that tells the sci-fi story of someone who discovers music in a very futuristic, totalitarian world where creativity and self-expression is a rebellion against the control and against the system. And while it can be seen as a metaphor for artistic freedom, I do think it's relevant as ever when it comes to conversations about music and art, about freedom of speech, about freedom of expression, about political tension between extreme sides that end up, quite frankly, looking a lot like the other when we're looking at the political horseshoe of fascism versus Marxism and how they kind of have a lot of similarities when they go to their respective extremes. And so there's so much we could talk about here about individualism and collectivism, about conformity and structure versus control and suppression, and the sacrifices that come with it. From an existential phenomenological standpoint, we could talk about freedom versus responsibility, which is something we all find ourselves in between in this life, right? Freedom to live freely, to express ourselves, to want to live and be free in every shape or form, but also having responsibilities. Something simple from paying your bills to responsibilities towards ourselves and our fellow human being. So many ways we could take this. And in light of that, I want to check out B-side with you today. We're going to start with a passage to Bangkok. And I'm intrigued by that the song would be called just so. Bangkok being central Thailand, if we're looking at the actual city. But what does that have to do with the storyline? Let's listen and experience this together. Okay. A couple of things. It feels like coming home. I haven't listened to Rush in a minute, and it feels like coming home a bit, which is wild. I would have never thought that I would say this. But also, I love the Asian elements here. Straight up, just giving us nods to why this song might be titled the way that it is. I love that. Oh my goodness. Progressive. It's like the fathers of metal.
My first stop is in Bogota to check the Colombian fields. The natives smile and pass along a sample along the hill. Sweet Jamaican white dreams, a golden Acapulco nights, then Morocco and the East. Fly by morning light, we're on the train to Bangkok, aboard the Thailand Express. We'll hit the stops along the way. We only stop on the best.
His voice is just in another level.
We've been smoking Lebanon. We burn the midnight oil. The fragrance of Afghanistan rewards a long day's toil. Pulling into Kathmandu, smoke rings fill the air. Above you by an apple light express gets you there. We're on the train to Bangkok, aboard the Thailand Express. We'll hit the stops along the way. We only stop for the best. We're on
I'm so sorry. I got to pause real quick. I'll rewind a couple of moments. I have to for copyright reasons. Even though I prefer listening all the way through, but also because I don't want to lose my train of thought. Guys, whenever I think that I've heard it all, in the sense of, okay, I have a feeling now for the flavor that is Rush, the fragrance that is Rush, they keep surprising me. And every time I thought, okay, I feel like I can put them in a box. I feel like I know kind of ish the category that they are in when it comes to genre and style and feel. You know, that kind of that. Yeah, that flavor you get for a band or the music that they create. They keep just breaking out of that box. They will not be boxed in. And I'm not just even speaking diversity with their musical genre. I'm speaking creativity. I'm speaking allowing themselves to branch out and make music based on what they're feeling, what they're experiencing, and the emotion the song is wanting to convey. And that's why I understand when some people say they don't make music like this anymore. The intricacies of that guitar solo, the multi-layeredness of that piece alone reminds me of this 5 meal course where you have this dish that is part of the whole picture and yet stands out all on its own. And I mean, we could talk for days about the voice and, as I say often, Wiedererkennungswert in German, this re-recognition value you have in a voice where you know that is. We could talk about the drum skills and the way that they play together and the math that this is. I mean, you might just be watching my face and seeing me trying to process, like it almost like Beautiful Mind style, where the numbers and the square root and the multiplication and addition symbols are floating around my head because I'm trying to make sense of what's happening here. That's how intricate this is. I love the cultural nods and elements that are in honor of and a nod to Thailand, to Bangkok. I love how poetic the lyrics are because they're taking us on a journey. I love that this could totally be an amazing rock hippie anthem because those nods to the perfumes and the fragrances and the smoke rings and then the sound it sounds like this could totally be a hippie anthem about traveling and getting lost in the herb. But at the same time, I wonder if this is also relatable to a lot of you who are veterans, who have been to Afghanistan, who have been to Thailand, who have been to various parts of the world, and you journeyed through and you saw things that are hard to put in words to someone else that has not been there, where you tried to paint pictures of what it was like. And it's hard to put that in words. And then you have a band here and a song here that does kind of make it come to life, making us feel somehow less alone because someone managed to paint a picture that I can almost taste and smell and see. Uh, Still keeping it youthful and fun, still keeping it entertaining, but actually really profound. And it takes you with as if you are on this journey aboard that Thailand Express. Woo! Woo!
We ride the train to Bangkok. Aboard the Thailand Express. We'll hit the stops along the way.
That
We
grit,
only stop for the best.
the way he uses his vocal box
Ride the
opens up.
train to Bangkok. Aboard the Thailand Express. We'll hit the stops along the way. We only stop for the best.
The vocal fry at times, the way that he uses his voice and opens up at just the right time to add that enunciation, the way that he emphasizes different vowels, the way that it brings in grit or that vibrato at just the right time without overdoing it. So much skill. You know, it makes me want to understand how we were at the grand finale of side A, and we went through this whole journey, this sci-fi story. I want to understand, and I haven't quite grasped, but I think as I keep listening, it might become clearer how we end up here now and how that plays into this sci-fi world. And I'm wondering, I'm realizing that where side A was this unified journey, a story, almost like those movies or those TV shows where you go through the various episodes, each song being its own episode or season, but all part of a storyline. Perhaps side B here as shifting to individual songs that are not directly linked to the storyline, but giving each their own diverse tone. And if that's the case, and we'll keep listening, even if side B is not a continuation of side A, because as of now, I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing how this would play into the storyline of that totalitarian utopia now of the storyline of side A. If it's not a continuation and we're now having individual songs, I wonder if, even though it's not connected to the storyline and the theme, if giving us side B with a beautiful display of creativity is an answer to side A, not a continuation of it. We're not in that plot anymore. We're not in that utopia anymore. What if side B, a collection of individual standalone songs and pieces of art, is now what it would look like if there was creative freedom? If side A would have or has attained freedom from a controlling system of oppression. If there is now someone who has discovered music and is now showing us what that would look like if we don't stifle music, if music doesn't die, and if creativity doesn't die, and if freedom reigns. Could be the result of a successful side A? Could side B be an example, a platter of dishes, of songs that are showing us, and this is why we need creative freedom, and this is why a utopia, a totalitarian world where books are banned and music is stifled, where creativity is stifled. And we could go off in a different tangent. Maybe we'll talk about that later, how AI plays into that. How much does it give us extra creative ability, and how much does it stifle it? How much does the music industry represent a totalitarian system where you got to take off your clothes and meet a criteria of certain mathematics to make it to the top 40s, and you have to have certain topics in your lyrics, and you have to present yourself a certain way to reach the top billboard, and you have to be part of some type of label or corporation to make it, and groups of 3 in your compositions in order to fit the narrative that makes a song go viral. Maybe there's elements there we could talk about. But we'll see. Let's keep listening. Is that what's happening here?